Jared and Katie in the morning, 107.5 KZL.
There are certain phrases that only sound rude coming from a woman, and this is according to men. So maybe you guys can help me, as a woman, understand why some of the things that we women say sound rude. For example, when women say no thank you, men find it to be more rude coming from a woman than from another man.
I do find that.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Why do you? Because then I can tell you what the research says.
I don't know. I just feel like it's like condescending a little bit, like I'm not good enough. This is not good enough for you.
Yeah.
But for a guy, they're being genuine and honest and authentic.
Well, I know thank you. You're like, okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. That's what it feels like.
And maybe it's in advance that you're making. Like, you know, maybe,
And a woman says, no, thank you.
or maybe you're married and you're like, hey, let's have sexy time. Like, no, thank you. You're like, rude.
Huh.
Rude.
Okay. Well, women are often characterized as rude or entitled when they say no thank you, especially when compared to men who collectively they're celebrated for their stubbornness and perceived confidence.
Yeah.
It is odd. If I, even if it was like a piece of candy. Katie, you want one? Oh, no, thank you. Jared, you want one? No, thanks. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, Jared. Katie, that's bitchy.
What's wrong with Katie today?
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right.
It's
Well,
like it's not good enough for Katie.
Like, I don't eat that.
all right. I have no clarity whatsoever so far.
It is weird.
Well, we don't know why.
I don't
Matt,
either.
do
I'm
you know
asking
why?
you.
I don't. I wonder if it's because I feel like women use like phrases that sound sweet and we know they're not. You know what I mean?
Welcome to the team,
Like,
Matt.
like,
Welcome to the team.
like bless your heart.
yeah.
I know you're really saying F you.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a dude, you're not. They're like cool and chill and like totally normal.
Because like with guys, what we say is what we mean.
Uh-huh.
And with women, sometimes it's veiled. And so I feel like maybe that feels veiled.
Okay. No, thank
Wow.
I think that's
Simple
a
words, no
very,
thank you.
Very
very
good.
insight.
you. Okay. I can confidently say I have never said, bless your heart. I
No.
normally just say, F you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just comes out if I mean it,
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not veiled.
There's no veiling. No veiling. All right. Another, maybe we'll understand this, but there are certain phrases that women use that only sound rude when a woman is saying it. And then if a man says it, it's totally fine. For example, I'm speaking.
Oh, I think it's rude when anyone says it.
Apparently to men that it's only when women say it do people view it as rude.
I think it's what you said from the top on the first one is like a man in our culture, wrongly so. If a man is strong and makes tough decisions, he's a boss. He's doing it. He's just being tough. If a woman does the same thing, she's a biatch.
And it's so unfair.
I don't know why that is. It just
It
is.
is.
It has seeped into our culture. So to be aware of it.
Researchers have found that men who interrupted others were deemed assertive, confident, passionate. When women make similar interruptions, they're labeled as rude, less friendly, and less intelligent.
What was the phrase? I'm speaking?
I'm speaking.
See, I think the difference here is men would never say that. They would just keep speaking.
That is true.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever heard a man go, I'm speaking.
So
I'll
in
say
order
something
to
like,
be
I guess I'll tell my story later.
Yeah.
I'll say stuff like that, like
Yeah.
jokingly, but
Yeah.
like, excuse me, I'm speaking.
so because women are saying, or they're trying to be more polite by saying I'm speaking,
Is that polite?
they're deemed rude. Well, if somebody interrupts you and you
That's
do
rude.
say I'm speaking,
Well, it seems, yeah.
It feels rude because the person who's interrupting isn't always aware that they're being rude. So when you're the one doing the interrupting and then you get interrupted back, you're like, well, that was rude.
You can't re-interrupt. What are you
Yeah.
thinking, Katie?
so you're
Yeah.
just
Don't
You're-
interrupt my
Yeah.
interruption.
angry that you're being called out for being rude.
Yes, exactly.
You're angry for being called out for being rude.
But you don't do it realizing that you're being rude.
Oh,
Most people, when they interrupt, don't realize they're interrupting until after the fact.
okay.
But I think if a man said that to me too, if I didn't realize, like I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, okay, Mister
Yeah.
Important. Oh, you're
Yeah.
speaking. Okay. Well, I'm not listening clearly because I'm interrupting.
Right. Well, that's always what it is. You're not listening. Because if you are actively listening, you will wait.
Yeah.
You're really listening to what the person has to say, and you know when they're finished.
Right.
But
Right.
if you're just thinking about what you're going to say next, you don't care.
Katie, I'm speaking. I wasn't done with my thought.
You were done with your
Yes, I
thought.
was.
You were. Another thing that sounds rude when women say it, but not when men say it. Thanks, but I don't need your help.
Ooh, that's rough.
Mm.
Well, that seems kind of rude both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Don't know. When women say thanks, but I don't need your help, it can reinforce the misguided notion that they're incompetent and they don't have the same wisdom as men.
I do like the little video clip that keeps circulating, at least on my feed, where it's the girl walking to the laundry room with a drill, and he's like, "Need any help?" She's like, "No, I can do it myself." And she's trying to, she's trying to hang a cupboard, and the whole thing just collapses on her. She goes tumbling down, and crashes all over. And sorry,
And he's like,
but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think men have a hard time asking for help.
mm-hmm.
Well, that's all right.
Because they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be considered weak or less masculine because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But I think men also really enjoy being helpful in those situations. Whereas I don't
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, not Jared. The entire time I'm thinking to myself, that dude doesn't know how to hang a cupboard.
No. Every time. No way.
He doesn't know how
I
to
know
do
how
that.
to call a phone number to a person who's trained to do it. I'm pretty
That's
good
true.
at that.
That's
I'm
fair.
pretty good at that.
But like for me, I like being helpful and being asked to do things, and I feel a real sense of accomplishment when I'm able to do something like that for someone else. And
Okay.
so if I offer and you're like, "No thanks, I don't need any help," and I'm like, it like hurts my feelings because now I can't help.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that feelings were involved.
For
Now,
me, on
there's
that,
been times like in dating, like with Anna, like I say, hey, let me help you with that. Like it's not building something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and she always says no, and I'm like, well, why don't you let me help? Like you clearly need help with this one thing. Let me just help you with it. And so you're kind of like, why? But I know it's because it's like you don't want to be a bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Matt. Like when you actually do offer, it's because if I'm offering it, it's because I'm being genuine. I'm not like, hey, let me fix your dishwasher. I don't know how to do that.
Mhm.
You know,
Uh-huh. But
if it's
there are
something
some
else-
men who will because
yeah.
like I can do anything, and then they make it 1,000 times worse. You know.
Yeah.
I have a very hard time asking for help. I don't like to
Yes, you do,
accept.
Katie.
I do. I don't like to accept help, and I don't know why.
Yeah, what is it? Why are you so messed up?
I don't know. I'd like to get to the bottom of that because help would be nice.
There's been times.
Don't know.
There's been times like you're like, oh, he's been throwing up or he's whatever. I was like, hey, do you want me to send a pizza to your? Or what? You're like, no, we're good. Like you never say yes.
I don't know why.
And I'm relieved and come save some money, but I'm like, can you say yes? to
Maybe
it?
it's
Maybe I
because-
should just do it. Maybe I should, but then I don't want to just do it, and you already have food. You know, I've only done that a handful. I've asked like, do you need anything? What can I do for you?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
You don't need anything. Like, sure, you need something. Like everyone's sick in your house or whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
feel like
don't
you're
know.
a bother?
Truly, I don't know why.
Okay.
It's just uncomfortable for me
Do you feel like
to
you owe somebody?
accept it. I don't know. It's not the owing because
Yeah.
I will go and
Yeah.
just do stuff, but I don't know. There's something in there. I need to figure
because
it
you're
out
the
in therapy.
opposite when it comes to other people.
Yes,
Big
Yep.
time.
it's I don't know.
You're always offering.
Remind me to write that down and talk to my therapist about that. Get to the bottom of that.
Let's start with the more important stuff.
Don't
Why
know.
are you mean
Yes.
to me and Jason?
I already know why.
Mostly Jason.
I
but
already know why, but
we too. Yeah, we know it.
you guys don't want to hear
Yeah.
that. You can't handle the truth.
Save your money. You don't need to waste your time doing that.
One other final thing that only sounds rude when women say it, according to men, when they say, "You're so dramatic." If a guy says it, maybe a guy wouldn't. Would a guy say that? They would say that. A guy would say that to another
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, you're
so dramatic.
Yeah, you're so
but
dramatic,
when a
yeah.
woman says it, it's like
If
rude.
a woman called you dramatic, you're
It
like,
is.
oh my gosh, I must be really dramatic.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
You're calling me you.
Because in general, women are dramatic. So when they're saying dramatic, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm worse than you.
I need to check myself.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I say it to you guys all
Yeah.
the time.
I call it entertaining. We're entertaining.
Yeah, you see how you spin that?
Yeah.
You see how you spin it?
Yeah. Spin.
That's a spin.
Yeah, we spin here.
Yeah, when women say you're so dramatic, those statements can often be more offensive to a toxically hyper masculine man.
I think that's rude.
They can't handle it.
That phrase you just said was very rude.
Toxic? Was it the toxic or hyper masculinity?
Well, you know I'm not masculine, so I have toxic femininity.
Toxic ego dimity. Right.
All right. Very interesting.
I know.
So,
I love stuff like that.
ladies, stop being so rude to us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stop
Say
being
yes,
so
please. Yes,
No.
please.
Stop being so dramatic.
Yeah. So I say no, thank you. Say yes, please. That'd be great.
The most dramatic men I know are two men in the same room with me right now.
Jalen.
Jalen and
No.
Matt.
No.
Yeah. No,
Their
I can-
names both start with, well, I guess they all start with J, but
Yeah.
Jared and Jason.
That's
Who's
interesting.
more dramatic?
Oh, Jason by far.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're number one. You like being number
You
one?
are number one.
Yeah,
you're
you're
number
the
one.
best.
Here I am.
You're number one.
The runner-up
most.
again.
Number one.
It's not one day without an insult from Katie.
I didn't.
Not one day.
I didn't. He asked me.
I did
So I
ask.
just asked
I
a
know,
question
but
or
it's not
answered
one day,
it.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
just answered it. But it's true.
Our show would be boring if it weren't dramatic.
Yes, it's what makes the show go around.
Yeah. We have to have some balance. We have like Matt, who's a stable person.
Very not dramatic.
Katie, who pretends to be stable but isn't.
Not mentally.
That is
Yeah.
true.
That's for
That
sure.
is so true.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. None of us.
What do you
That
mean
is
that's
so true.
What's so true?
It is, though.
He's just. This is lashing
It's a
back.
facade.
He used facade correctly.
Well done.
You did it.
First. Why are you lashing out at Jared?
Don't put it back on me.
Why are you lashing out at Jared?
I was saying
He's the
all
one
that-
that said it. I agreed.
Yeah.
I guess the only one who came out with a real compliment is Matt. Because I said he's stable.
Yeah.
But I guess it can be interpreted.
And then when you say pretends to be stable,
Katie.
yeah. I have stabled out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was wildly unstable, and then as years have gone on, I've stabled out.
Yeah,
that's
Katie's on
good.
pills for that.
Damn.
Thank God.
By the way,
Yeah.
we were recording this interview earlier. We'll tell
Oh
you
my
about it later. In the middle of the interview, it was early this morning. We've never done this. It was like basically before the show started.
Yeah.
Somebody's schedule. So we recorded this interview. It was interesting. And Katie's taking her vitamins. And I thought she was going to die. She started choking. She was like she was laying on the ground. She's like, and I'm like, yeah, so how do you get the idea for your podcast? I talked to these
Are you
people.
going to do the Heimlich?
Yeah. And I was like,
No,
I'm like,
he
looks
was
all right.
not.
I was in the middle of entertainment. How dare you?
Are
But I
you
was-
that lazy where you can't even do
No,
it?
it was. I looked and I was like, what is she? And she's like, and then I saw like, she was making a sound, so I knew she wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, she's like almost choked to death on this vitamin.
Yes, it was huge.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she's not on the interview for a little bit because she's choking. Maybe we can point it out when we play it.
But I'm better now.
Yeah, you're much better now. Not joking at all.
No.